warehouse, and then you
Okay.
check all for receive and just receive the units. And that
We may,
finishes the transaction.
okay, we may be able to implement this as well if, say, Georgia is out of running low on stock and Texas doesn't have a chance and North Carolina has, more than they need, we may can ship those materials down to Georgia.
Yeah, you
So
could use
that's,
this for that.
so that's maybe a possibility where we can use this.
There's 100 different ways to skin a cat, okay?
There you go.
I mean, depending upon how you want to do it and what sort of visibility you want, that's why some people use orders, because with the orders, they have order header information. It tells them the customers and, when it shipped, when it was delivered, all of that. Some folks use the internal moves just because it's simple. They can easily transfer stock from one warehouse to another. So it's really it depends on the what sort of visibility that you need. But what you need to understand too is all of this is tracked at the item level. So anything that happens to your stock, whether it's transfers between warehouses or internal moves or direct issues where you're consuming raw materials or whatever, it gets put in the audit trail.
Okay.
So, a transaction or a record of that transaction is recorded every time you touch stock.
Okay, all right. So far, what the best thing that I like is where we can put everything on the run instead of, because it's going to take a long time for them to scan the barcodes on each material on each trailer when they load it. So what Gabriel Jr. mentioned about if we can group them, the runs together, and what's needed for each kit, when they load, that will save a lot of time as well.
Yeah, the way the work orders work is, basically, Ben showed you how to create a finished good, or basically an assembled unit. So what happens is when in our work order system, if I create a work order,
because that way it'll be efficient, but it'll be a lot faster as well, and that's I like that.
Right. Basically, what I'm saying is I'm creating a work order to build a carport, and these fields are customizable too. So we can specify who the customer is, or however you want to, whatever information you need on that work order or that run, we can modify these fields, so you can show that, this was created for this customer, right here, this order is for this customer. Okay, so I can save that. And then you have visibility of not only, the runs, but who they were done for. And then in the line items, basically, you would choose the kit that you're currently building. You choose the warehouse you're building it in. Okay, and then you'd say, okay, well, I want to create one of these. And then, you could say, I want to create one of these. And then you can load the components. And what this does is it takes a look at your bill of materials. And it loads it. Okay, it says I need all of these items to create one finished good.
Okay.
Okay. Now, out of that, you have all of these reports you can print. You have order detail report.
Okay.
It actually breaks down the order. Again, shows you what's on it.
Okay.
You have a pick list, the bill of materials. Okay, shows you what's in it. So you have all of that in the work order system. But what happens is when you actually build this work order and you finish it,
yes,
you're gonna have the ability. Let's change this to open, and I'll show you what happens. So now I've started the work order, if you go down here now, you're going to see a line that says issue. When I click this, what happens is it takes me into the issue grid, and it's going to create an assembly. It's going to finish this good, so it's going to consume all these raw materials. It's going to take them out of inventory. So basically, you'll have a perpetual inventory. You'll finish, your raw materials will be consumed, and you'll create a finished good.
Okay.
And then that you can take that finished good. Well, let's follow this through. So I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to issue it out. I'm going to say I only want to make one of these. It takes me into the issue screen, and it's saying, okay, well, in order to make this one part, I need to issue out this stock. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to automatically pick the stock. Load all actually goes out and looks at inventory and commits stock to the order. And then I'm going to finish the issue. So I have a finished good in the system, and it should have a reference of this work order. So if I go into my locate move screen, again, and I say reference, I think it's receiving reference, and I say place this unit in transit. I now want to transfer it to another warehouse. It filters by that work order number. This is a finished good I just created. I just created one iPod. Okay? It's in the manufacturing warehouse, and I'm just going to ship it. So now I'm going to ship it to retail, and away it goes. So I've gone through the whole, oh, I didn't select it, sorry.
Okay.
So I've gone through the whole life cycle of using the work orders to create a finished good, issuing out raw material against the work order, and then shipping it to another warehouse.
Okay. Okay.
And if we go back again, you'll see in the item master list today's activity.
So with that, we can actually do reports of how many runs were loaded and sent out from each warehouse as well.
Yeah, you'll have that information in the audit trail.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because, I mean, we know this information already, but it takes a while for, a lot of times the shop foremans, if they get busy and sidetracked, and, it may take them a little while to fax back, who, the subcontractors, who got loaded, who didn't.
It would probably make more sense to you if, you were looking at your own parts list. So, I mean, if you could send us, the parts list that goes into one of your carports and what your carport would be called, we could probably tailor the demo. So it'd be better for you to visualize how it works if you're looking at something other than an iPod.
Right. Okay, so I'll get together a parts list, and on that parts list, I can, for example, like the 18 by 21 by 6, but I'll do like a garage, a parts list for a garage.
The utilities, we'll actually email you, Charles, a template of how to import the parts.
Okay.
Did I lose Ben?
No, I'm here. It'd be better if he just sent me the part list, and I can use the utility to import it.
Okay, you don't want to show them that.
People do have difficulty with it, yeah.
Okay. Either way, it's whatever you guys like. I can do that.
Benny, the other thing, can you show them system users and how they filter?
Okay, so system users, anybody that has login access to the system will have an account.
Yes.
For instance, I have a couple accounts I use. So anyways, this is my account, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn myself into a customer, and I'm locked into the manufacturing warehouse now. So if I save this and I log in under this profile, you're going to see this menu change because these access to the functional modules in the system are all controlled through permissions based upon what group you're in. So you can have different profiles for the people that work for you as well as your external customers.
Okay.
So you can let them like look at orders, but this profile is basically a customer. So all I can do is look at shipping orders, and I can change my login. That's it. I can't get into the inventory. I can't see the lists. You know, I can't see the parts catalogs. I can't do anything like that. So, you know, you have a great deal of control over who can do what in the system. Now, normally what we do is when you first come on board, we work with you to set up the security to get it right.
Yes, because that's going to be very important to us, especially because people get in and if they don't know exactly what they're doing, they change things and make a mess. We have a lot of people that they don't understand what they're doing, but they'll want to play, and that can mess a lot of things up, especially as important as this is.
We have a number of different reports you can run. Inventory count by warehouse is one. You can add filters. So if I say company contains retail, or maybe it's warehouse. I'm sorry, warehouse contains retail.
Okay. Yeah, I wish Cable Junior. I need to.
You can actually break down your inventory and see what you have in stock at any time.
Okay.
And this actually shows you your reorder points as well, what the value of that stock is. So there are a number of different reports. We can tailor reports really to do whatever you need it to do. One of the popular one is this one because it actually looks at your warehouse. It shows you everything, where it is, serial numbers, and how many units.
Okay.
So all these views are available to you, and they're easily customized.
Okay.
But it sounds to me like you'd be using bill of materials and work orders, you know.
Yeah, that's our main.
Internal transit.
Okay. And what I may do is send you the information like what was referring to as a ROM that these installers load on their trailers at one time. I may send you the parts list for I'll do like a garage and a carport. You know,
okay.
That may be an example for a ROM, and seeing if there's a way, you know, we can scan just like the cover sheet of the ROM, have a barcode on it versus the material on the trailer. Or maybe we can do both, but instead of scanning...
You like do a bulk move?
Yes.
Yeah, we're working on that now for another customer. So basically you're saying scan this, run, and move it all to the trailer?
Right, right. I think that will... And then once you scan it, you know, all those items, you know, they'll be deducted from the inventory from the warehouse.
Yeah, another thing you can do, and one of the things I'm thinking of using with another customer is work orders also allow you to commit stock. So let me see if I have an open work order. We have a customer right now that's describing the same thing. They manufacture audio video components, and they use locate move to move stock into a shop area where they're assembling the finished good, the AV rack. So the approach I'm taking with them is they're going to have this commit. They're going to be able to commit stock where they actually, if they click on this link here, they're going to choose stock that they currently have, and they're going to commit it to this work order.
Okay.
So if I go back to that work order and I want to see what stock has been committed to it, I can click on this and it'll show me. And then what happens is they have all of these pieces in the shop. Some of them get committed to the work order, some of them don't. Some of them remain, outside of the finished product, and they want to be able to bulk move everything from the shop into the warehouse. So,
Yes, that's what we're trying.
yeah, currently this process is, I'm working on it right now, but basically what that will do is it'll move not only the finished good, but everything else that was moved into the shop area back into the warehouse, and it will consume those materials went into the finished good at that point in time. Until then, they'll stay in inventory. They'll just be marked as committed. That way, if they need to take it out for whatever reason, it's defective or whatever, they can come back here and unselect it.
Okay.
And that takes it out.
Okay. All right. Now, when you say commit, that means we're pretty much loading it all this.
Yeah, you're saying, well, in this case, we're working with a finished good again, okay? We're creating something. We're creating a carport. And what we're doing is we're saying, okay, I took this tube pipe and I put it in the carport. But it stays in inventory until I actually move it out of the shop location into the warehouse. I actually say, okay, I'm done with this. I've finished creating this part.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay?
Okay.
So that's what I'm working on that right now for a customer. So they'll be able to use this. They'll be able to commit raw material to the finished good, but we won't actually consume that raw material until, we move it from one location to another. Again, it's one of those things. There's 50 ways to skin a cat in the system. Another way, our work orders work is the way we showed you, where we actually, when we create the finished good, we actually issue out the stock at that time. So there's different options. You can create or commit stock to the finished good, and eventually, when I get that move finished, you'll be able to do a bulk move where not only do you create, the finished goods created ahead of time, but all the raw materials behind the scenes are consumed. So then your inventory, is adjusted where we're issuing out raw material and we're bringing in one finished good.
Okay. So, for example, when we call the customers to schedule them, once we get that run called, we fax it to the shops. So once they receive it, and I can email an example of that as well, we can actually commit all those raw materials at that point. And then once they load it, then it's being taken out of inventory.
Yeah, we have to. I have to build that piece, but I have to build it for another customer right now anyway. So basically, it'll be there and it'll be on our gun. We do have a mobile component that works on, it works on tablets and iPads and iPhones and Android devices. And we're going to implement it in both systems, and where you can look up a work order. Orders. So I think this only looks at outstanding work orders right now, but there is a mobile component where we're going to have to modify this so they can actually search inventory and commit stock to a finished good. So that'll be available to you as well.
Okay. So this is what it will actually look like on like an iPad and any mobile device.
Yep.
The screen you had. Okay.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different layout. It's it's designed to work really on any platform. It'll work on the desktop too. So I mean, it'll work in your browser, on your computer, on your desk, or it will work from your phone. It's just the screens are, the screens are written so they can fit a smaller device.
Okay, so if I'm on the road on the way to a warehouse, I can pull up on my iPad and then I can see the stock.
You can see the stock. You can see the.
That way I know on the way. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Because one of things is a lot of the warehouses, they don't have internet there. Which,
Yeah, it works over cellular.
yes, we've been looking into it, so that will save from having to get internet.
Yeah, that'll
But
save you some money. I mean, as long as it has a, you know, a broadband cellular connection, you can get to your site.
yep. Well, here's my another question. Because we may need to add internet at these warehouses because, well, I'm not sure. We'll look more about how the system works. You mentioned from the broadband connection. But as far as a warehouse, once they receive in, and I'm not sure, I guess it's a scanner. Do these scanners, would they need to be linked to Wi-Fi or anything like that, or the scanners like the barcodes?
Could you repeat that question?
Okay, all right. I know what I'm trying to ask, but I'm not sure how to get it out of my mouth, so to
I'll
speak.
be honest with you, my eyes kind of wandered to it.
Okay, let's see. I'm trying.
Slammed with emails right now, and my eyes kind of wandered over there.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Is
Repeat
it
the question? I was
okay?
paying attention.
Okay. Say we put the stickers for the barcodes.
Yep.
On the material. The scanner used to scan these barcodes.
Yep.
Do those require Wi-Fi or internet access?
If you're using a phone, all it requires is cellular access. But there is, I don't know if Ben's still on the line, but you know, he can walk you through the different options for the Bluetooth readers. But you know, normally you can get a sled for a phone or an iPad or an Android that will allow you through Bluetooth and your cellular connection to scan the item, because it all works with a website. So, you know, I mean, if we're hosting the site for you or you're hosting it yourself, as long as it's open and you have a cellular connection on that device, you can get to it. You don't need Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is faster, of course, but you don't need it. You just need to be able to, you need a data connection to the internet.
Okay, that answers my question. So we'll need to get internet access. Okay, all right.
Well, you don't.
But not Wi-Fi necessarily, but there needs to be connection
right.
to.
If you have cellular at your warehouses, you could get by with just like a tablet that's on a 4G network.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that would be connecting back to wherever the database is hosted. You know, if you're hosting it in North Carolina or we're hosting it for you up here in our office, which are both options, then you can run the application from anywhere. You know, you could be in France, and as long as you knew the URL of the mobile application and a username and password, you can log into the system and do everything like you're at the warehouse. You know, you can receive and issue and do reports and take orders and, you know, show your customers. So if you had salespeople out in the field, you know, they could literally take an order on a tablet in the field. They wouldn't have to write it down on paper and then fax it in or whatever. They could just place the order on a tablet in the field. And, you know, they could put special notes on the order. You know, has to be, you know, some special truck, or, you know, needs to be special foundation, or, you know, whatever notes you want to put in on the order, you can put in. So.
Okay. So for an example, these scanners, the shop foreman from their cell phone, they can actually link to their cell phone from the scanner through Bluetooth. Is that what I'm understanding?
Right.
Okay.
Right. See, I took the screen back. These socket and Coamtac scanners are pretty popular Bluetooth scanners. So if, let's see, I have a picture somewhere here.
Okay.
If we go back to, See, this shows like an iPhone or a Samsung with the sled around the smartphone or tablet scanning the
Okay.
barcode, and this is it here. And then this is
Oh, I
this is a
see.
socket
Okay.
this is a socket mobile one that you can like stick to an iPad, to the back of an iPad. And then this is one that you can put around your neck or tether it to your belt, and see how this police officer has an iPad or a Droid, and he's scanning a driver's license using the scanner. Okay? So there's different, you can use all sorts of different Android and iOS devices with Inventory Pro, and different combinations of these scanners depending on who's doing what.
Okay. That's,
All right?
okay.
So,
I'm sure a lot of these questions will come up, definitely,
Sure.
especially with the owner.
Sure.
You never liked really having.
I started recording when I turned it over to Ben, I started recording the meeting, and I'll put it up on YouTube so you guys can replay it.
Okay.
And watch it. So this, if you go to our website, this is our mobile application, and you can log in and play with it right from the website. Okay?
Okay.
And it's just a window on the, and this format, you know, is more what a screen would look like on a small device.
Okay.
All right. So is that a pretty good start?
Yes, that's a very good start. And then, like I said, I'll get together with Gabriel Jr. and go through getting a parts list for the garage, and maybe like an example of a run for you guys.
Yeah, that'd be great. It's always easier to see your own.
Yes.
Let me ask a question about a run. Is a run for one customer, or is a run
No, a run may be.
shipment?
Well, it depends. A run, if it's a huge, if it's a large size garage, it may be for one customer. They go by dollar amounts. So if you may have 6 or 7 small carports with 6 or 7 different customers in a run.
Okay. They're all going on the same shipment, though? They're all going on the same truck?
Yes, we may have 6 or 7 small carports on one truck, or one large size garage. It just varies.
Okay. It's just basically a work list, right? They got to do it, and they got to that's what they're currently working on?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Right now, when we call the customers to schedule from the office here, they put together what they call a run. And once that run is called and complete, then they'll fax the cover sheet with all the orders to the shops, to the shop foreman.
Okay.
When they receive that run, they start putting together the kits, if you will,
Okay.
for these subcontractors to come load on their trailers.
Okay.
So they already
Okay.
know, the parts that go with each individual kit.
Okay.
And you guys mentioned, excuse me, you host the website as well?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. All right. We may, if you don't mind, when we have another one, I would like the owners to be involved and the general manager and everything, so that way they can look at their own. That would be great. Gabriel Jr., he just joined me. He's back.
Where do they go?
Okay. It's going over like the scanning. Asking about us having internet.
Yeah.
All right. You don't have to have internet in the shop. If they have a cell phone or broadband, they can actually. Would you mind? Okay, right here it is. They can attach the scan.
What about the stickers? How do stickers work? You have to have a sticker for each thing, and will the sticker work on what we use, or what?
Yep.
And how do you put the stickers out? Or?
Okay, he made a question about the labels. Would they? Is there an issue as far as those sticking to our material or to metal, or And the size, I guess, would be another thing. 'Cause we want it as small as possible.
Well, we work with a couple of different companies that generate barcode labels, and one of them is Metalcraft, which is, I don't know why this is, but their website is called idplate.com. And these guys work in developing barcodes that virtually stick to almost anything. Dare I say, you know, a piece of metal that's smothered in grease is almost impossible to stick a label on. But bare metal, there's plenty of label stock that we can get that we can print the barcodes on and will stick to, you know. We'll work with a vendor like this, and they'll send you sample stock, and you can put it on your steel and you know, decide which is the best. Basically, there's all sorts of different papers and there's all sorts of different glues. You know, like this one, this picture here looks like it's on a hard drive, but it's basically metal, you know, a barcode on metal. And, you know, you can do it black and white, or you can do them in color with your logo. Probably just really simple black and white ones are going to be the least expensive, and, you know.
Yeah, and the smallest is best. And he was asking about the printer. We're going to have to get a special printer to print these, or do we order those?
Well, you can do it either way. We would probably, you're really going to want to print them. So let me see. Hold on here. I'll get the, I got to get to the right page. So what we usually use are zebra printers. Okay. And they'll print, this is a 2-inch wide printer and this is a 4-inch wide printer. And, you know, they'll spit out thousands and thousands of labels for you.
What is the, I'm sorry, the cost as far as one of those, or?
The zebra printers are pretty affordable. They're like $300 for a 2-inch wide printer.
Okay.
And then you got to put the you know, you got to get the label stock. Yeah, they use ribbons.
Ribbons. Okay.
And they also are thermal, but the thermal doesn't print as black and last as long as when you use a ribbon. So again, we can do some testing, and if you can get away without the ribbons, it's simpler, you know, less things to break in the field. It just depends on, you know, the readability of the barcode and also the life expectancy of the barcode. You know, if you only need the bar, go ahead.
For everything? Or? Okay, here's one on cost. Yeah, a list. Just once we get started, I know it's going to fluctuate as far as depending on which label maker and everything. And I got a printout about cost. I'm trying to find it here as far as the whole system, or what it was, where to start. Well, I was looking at the Inventory Pro price sheet.
Right, which is, I just brought it up here on the website.
Okay.
So everything's, you know, our standard price is $80 per concurrent user per month. So if you had, and you can add or delete users as necessary. So, you know, say you started out with like 3 concurrent users.
Okay. When you mention user, you're talking about like the shop foremans, the people that's going to log in to scan.
Right, but they're concurrent, so you can have 500 users in the system. You know, defined in the system, but it's how many are actually in the system at the same time. Okay, so
I see it. Okay, it's going
right. So it's concurrent users. So I would think you would start out with a few, 3, 4, 5, and then as you started to add a warehouse, you know, you'd add a user or 2 per warehouse. you know, and maybe you'd end up with 15 users or something at the end. I don't know. That's just a guess. You know, maybe you never get above 10 people in the system
Right.
at once.
Because on the warehouse, we're only going to have probably just a shop foreman that's going to be scanning them.
Right.
And looking at, you know, in the system.
But in North Carolina,
okay.
you may have, you know, somebody ordering, and I don't know, there may be a couple in North Carolina. Yeah. We'll have to see how it goes. You'll start out with a couple, and you just add them as you need them. And then if you get too many, we take 1 or 2 away.
Okay.
And you just pay by the month.
Okay, so once you get started, you're talking about the users per month, and then what is it? Okay. What he's looking at is the hosting. His $1,000 per person.
No. That's if you wanted to buy it yourself, like a traditional, like this part here. Is he looking at option 2?
Oh,
The
right.
$1,000 is if you wanted to host it on your own server in North Carolina or wherever you wanted to put the server, Texas or whatever. So that is a different way, right? Then you guys would be hosting the application, and it's $1,000 per user. You know, and there's no monthly fees then.
Okay, so if you guys do the hosting, it's the option 1.
Right,
Hosted by IC. Okay.
Hosted by CISS up here. And then this one would be local hosting, meaning that you guys do it. And then we actually have a third option where you guys buy it in option 2, but you have us host it. And we haven't had too many people do that, but some. You know, I don't quite know why, but, you know, they buy it and then we host it for them. So the hosting is discounted. It's only $20 per month per user. So most people either go with option 1 or option 2.
Let me make some notes here. So if you guys do the hosting, okay. We're looking at, okay, right. You guys do the hosting, that's per month. Okay, and then what's needed, I guess, after that? We're trying to look at the whole cost and if we get everything started.
Unless there's customization, we usually don't, you know, have too much of a setup fee. We'd have to talk in a little bit more depth if, you know, it's like if you wanted to do something with BusinessWorks, interface with BusinessWorks, we may end up, you know, having to charge you a setup fee for that. Or if there's customization. But so far, I think everything you want to do, we can do with the standard system. So, you know, it would just be a matter of saying, yeah, we want to turn it on, you know, for 3 or 4 users, and then, you know, we would.
How much we usually cost? Because I think we're getting ready to wrap it up, so we can, you know, it's Monday. So as far as setup fees, let's say per location.
There wouldn't be any setup fee per location. You can just add them on the fly.
Okay.
So if you started out just working in North Carolina and then you wanted to put it in Tennessee, you would just add the Tennessee warehouse and a user for Tennessee, and you know, as long as you stayed inside the current, the concurrent user count, you wouldn't have to. The only thing you might need to do is add a user. You know, if you started to bump into the.
Okay, all right. So I will. What's the best way to send the? The parts list. You guys put together a demo as far as.
Yeah, you can just email it to me, Charles.
Put it in a spreadsheet, please.
I'm sorry?
Put it in a spreadsheet, please.
Spreadsheet.
You know, so we can cut and paste.
Okay. Great.
Okay?
That way when we get together with the owners and everything, you can have everything
Yeah,
we
but they-
spoke about together, and that way you can show examples of the runs and everything.
Right. It'll make more sense. It'll
Right.
look better.
Okay. All right, well, I appreciate you guys' time, and it may take me a little bit to get this together, but hopefully I'll try to work on it today and get you a parts list, and
Great.
I'll do it in Excel.
Perfect.
Okay. All right.
All you
And
really need is, Charles, you need a SKU, a description. If you want a category to put it in, that's pretty much it. Maybe a default supplier that you purchase it from. You don't need a lot of information. And then, you need a finished good too, a carport, what it goes into.
You might be able to export it right out of BusinessWorks.
okay. Well, we don't have anything in BusinessWorks as far as any kind of inventory. We just do
Okay.
your
Okay.
general ledger or accounts receivable, accounts payable, and payroll.
Okay.
Right now, that's all we're using in those.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Like I said, I hate to cut you guys off, but and the other Ben Walker,
okay.
it's nice talking to you as well.
Yep.
Nice to meet
Thanks,
you.
Charles.
And I'll keep in touch and try